What's going on there, guys, and welcome back to F1 Fresh. So Mercedes is to announce anti-bouncing package and new power unit for, well, if you want to know the rest, stick with the video and let's find out together. Number 7. The origin of Grand Prix racing. Grand Prix racing started gaining popularity worldwide in the 1950s. This was when world championships, specifically for drivers and constructors, had begun to take place. Initially, the term Grand Prix was used when the most prominent automobiles of a country would compete with each other. However, the term was later used for not just Formula One car racing, but also other events and other sports. Coming back to the present, Grand Prix races refer to those races that refer to the World Championship of Drivers, but to this day, this term can be used to describe other less prestigious events. All year round, more than 15 Grand Prix events are held in different countries. Every season of a GP or Grand Prix is held in a different country, and as a result, that season is named after its host country. For example, if a GP is held in Australia, you'll refer to it as an Australian Grand Prix. Similarly, if a season is held in Monaco, it'll be known as Monaco Grand Prix. It's important to note that one Grand Prix can be held in the same or different city of the host country. Moving on to the distance covered during the race, the minimum total distance of a Grand Prix race is 300 kilometers or 190 miles, which is inclusive of all the prearranged laps. This is the standard distance. However, Monaco is an exception because in the case of a Monaco Grand Prix, the minimum total distance to be covered is 260 kilometers or 160 miles. Number 6. What goes on in a typical Grand Prix weekend? The Grand Prix race takes place over 3 to 4 days, which are mainly Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A regular day on a Grand Prix event normally begins with a pit lane walk. This is the part where the fans who have the weekend tickets get the chance to meet with their favorite cars and teams while they prepare for the race. On the contrary, the only issue is overcrowding since there are so many fans wanting to get up close and personal with their favorite racers. The second day starts with 2 90-minute practice sessions that normally take place between mid-morning and early afternoon. After these 2 sessions are completed, a third practice session begins, which has a duration of 60 minutes. This session takes place on the third day. The purpose behind this practice session is to get the racers and the cars prepared for qualifying in the afternoon. This session determines the starting order for the race. It's furthermore divided into 3 sessions, which help in eliminating the slowest cars in the first 2 sessions. After the elimination, the remaining ones compete till the final session to determine who will be in the first position for the race. The race begins on Sunday around 2 in the afternoon. The duration is 90 to 120 minutes. Number 5. 2022 Grand Prix. What happened? Basically, what happened was that Hamilton took a hit from Alonso as the inaugural Miami Grand Prix got underway. This resulted in Hamilton suspecting that there has been some sort of damage caused to the left rear of his Mercedes. However, both the drivers carried on after the encounter, with Mercedes crediting this characteristic for allowing Hamilton to escape with his W13 in full health. Upon being questioned during the Grand Prix debrief about the collision and whether the vehicle had been damaged or not, Mike Elliott, who's the technical director, responded by saying, "The answer to that question is no. We don't think so." The contact was wheel to wheel, and as always, we have lots of engineers looking at the data that's pouring off the car, so the aerodynamicists are looking at pressure taps on the floors and wings, they're looking at the push rod loads, and our chief engineer will be looking at all the other suspension loads and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we can very quickly tell whether there was an issue with the car, and there was no issue to find. Number 4. What changes might Mercedes make to the power unit? Andrew Chauvelin is the man behind the success of the F1 supercars on track. He's a Formula One engineer. At present, he's working as the track engineer director for the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team. When asked about the changes being made in the power unit, this was Chauvelin's response. "Well, we're constantly doing analysis on that," he told the media, including RacingNews365.com, when asked about the prospect of the current power unit. "There are areas that we think we can improve in terms of managing the deployment. However, it's a homologated unit now, so you can only do things for reliability, but that doesn't stop us from looking at what we can do within the modes and how we can use those better, whether there's anything more we can gain in how we're deploying the modes that are available, but we're not quick enough, And when you're not quick enough, you look at all areas for improvement. So the remit of the power unit people is to focus on that and look at any fine-tuning that we can do to find games, and on the chassis side, we've got a lot of different projects at the moment to try and move forward. Number 3, are other car developments been a consideration? Currently, Mercedes is introducing some minor aerodynamic updates to the W13 at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. However, it's important to note that this has very little effect on reducing the car's porpoising issues, which is when a car bounces up and down. This is a phenomenon that's caused by an increase and then a sudden decrease of downforce. Chauvelin did mention that they were aware that the upgrades wouldn't address their biggest weaknesses while coming to Imola. This was normal aero development. To be honest, we're working on the issues we've got with bouncing separately, he admitted. The developments we brought here, we were aware that we're not going to affect that. So that was why we were focused on those parts, but as an aside, we're still working hard to try and understand and get on top of the bouncing. As well as the tire warm-up, that's another area that's a weakness of this car that we need to fix before we'll be competitive. Number 2, are Red Bull now the new favorite one? Is Hamilton hitting a new low? Lewis Hamilton warned Red Bull initially ahead of the start of the 2022 season. He stated that even though his rivals the Red Bulls went very fast in the preseason running, his Mercedes squad is still ahead of them, and it will be ahead of them. His team is undoubtedly the best team, adding that winning a record 8th driver's title would be mind-blowing to him. Even though Hamilton had ended up losing his 2021 driver's title to Max Verstappen, who's a part of the Red Bulls, it was Mercedes who claimed an 8 consecutive Constructors' Championship last year. On the other hand, seeing how Mercedes struggled with bouncing issues on their all-new W13 during the preseason of 2022, and then watching Verstappen posting about a brilliant lap on the final day of Bahrain's official preseason test to go fastest of anyone, Hamilton ended up telling the reporters, "At the moment, I don't think we'll be competing for wins." Number 1, Red Bull versus Mercedes. In recent years, the Mercedes versus Red Bull rivalry has taken center stage in Formula 1. F1 fans will forever remember the 2021 battle between the two teams and two drivers, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Team principals were also not kind to each other and pushed each other to their limits frequently. Their rivalry started a decade back. Some members of the rival teams did bond with each other, but on the other hand, some didn't. For example, Christian Horner and Toto Wolff are not the closest of friends. In fact, last season, both the team principals were intense and raised complaints and protests against the other team. However, this isn't the same case for the rest of the team members, especially Hamilton and Verstappen's engineers. Peter Bonington and Gianpiero Lambiase, popularly known as Bono and GP, shared a moment after the Spanish GP. It's certainly good to see the two engineers bonding. This brings us to the end of our video. So what do you think, guys? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And lastly, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And with that, take care and goodbye.